Alrighty, yo. So let's see. YouTube just decided. Okay, YouTube decided that they wanted to stop it. They didn't like the music, bro. All right, so here we go. We're on our descent right now into Toronto. Um, yeah, I think they just like the music. I think it's mainly the house music kind of thing. They're not really they're not too much interested in the house music type of thing, bro. But yeah, so we are on our arrival into Toronto. Again, we're descending through flight level 280 and we're coming down. So our transition altitude is 18,000 feet, as we have here posted on our chart. And we are inbound here. Looks like it definitely did not like that house music being played in the background there. And it's beautiful out here in Toronto. Does not look like we're going to have any low visibility for our arrival today. Weather does look good. No returns on our weather radar. Our approach briefing and our descent briefing has been completed already. So here we're going to our arrival briefing and our descent briefing has been completed. For some reason, YouTube gets annoyed by the audio and the music there. As we arrive into Toronto today, it is looking pretty good. We do have ice or ice reported within the area, so we are going to keep our de-icing on for our engines, just so that we don't run into any issues as we enter Toronto. So if you notice all the way out here, you are seeing some serious clouds as well. So we're going to be expecting to fly through. We are expecting to fly through some known icing conditions. All right, let's go to our approach here. If you guys want to see what our approach is looking like today, for winds today, 250 at 24 knots. We are, well, it's gusting to 24. It's 17, but gusting to 24. We're going to add 24 there, just so that the aircraft is aware of exactly what condition it's going to be flying into today. That also assists it or helps it calculate its landing distance as well. We're expecting a temperature of -4, QNH of 1010. That did go up to 1011, so we're going to make that adjustment right here. And our minimums is going to be at 808 feet. We are expected to be stabilized at 1,000. If we're not stabilized at 1,000 feet, we are going to initiate our go around and follow the published missed approach. If for any reason below 1,000 feet we do get unstable, before landing, we will initiate our go around. If we do get unstable right after touchdown, as long as our reversers are not yet deployed, we will initiate a go around. In the event that we do go ahead and put out our reversers, go around is no longer optional, and we will be committed to that landing. Try our best to remain stabilized on the runway, even if we don't remain down the center line, but we will try our best to remain on the runway to minimize any issues. We don't want to be going around after engaging our reversers. That's because it is not a part of the Airbus SOPs. The Airbus SOPs state that once the reversers are engaged, you are committed to that landing. All right, so we're below 18,000 feet. We're flight level 180. Right, so it does not look like we're heading over here. We're heading over that way. Making a left. We're making a right turn, and then we're going to make an immediate left turn at Lepux. And we're headed to Dugda. And so now we should be able to pull up our approach or arrival chart. Here we are on the Amoeba 8 arrival. We are experiencing a little bit of turbulence. If you notice, the wind speed and direction changes. Not ever so often, but it does change sparingly, I should say. So that's going to be our right turn, and then we're heading over this way. So we are definitely going to be flying into that. All right, let's see. We got a nice raw report from the METAR there from Callum out of Qatari Virtual. Flight rules are VFR, so we do have pretty good visibility heading in, about 15 square miles or 24 kilometers. All right, so our pressure did go up. So it was 1010, went to 1011, now it's 1012. So we're going to go ahead and enter that in our QNH here. Right, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and prepare our VHF for our arrival into Toronto today. So let's go ahead and select our ILS runway 23, Toronto Tower 18.7. Let's go ahead and get that in here. There we go, 18.7 is set and selected. All right, there we go. Set down to 3,000, preparing for crossing 10,000. QNH 1010 set. Aircraft is currently slowing down for 250 for below 10,000. Our right turn has been initiated, and we're headed to Epux. We're supposed to be down at, well, Lepux, sorry. We're supposed to be at 8,000. That's our altitude constraint at 220 knots with our speed constraint. You can see that there is snow out here in Toronto. So our runway condition of compact snow is sufficient. Our braking action is going to be 4. It's not 6 across the board, it's 4. We're expecting to exit at Hotel 4. If you look at our airport info chart right here, keeping an eye on our altitude here for 10,000. It's going to be our airport chart. We're going to be Hotel 4 Hotel, cross runway 15 right, 15 left, and we're taxiing over to Terminal 3. One of the things I would love for them to do is to at least put our arrival gates, which is something that I would love to see added to our virtual airline. I know we do it on Spirit and JetBlue, so that would be an awesome thing to add as well. put that down there. Yep, here we go. We're crossing 10,000. Line of lights are going on. Seatbelt signs and mobile is on. Speed. Cabin ready. Do we have the cabin here? Interphone. Yeah, let's keep that on. Have the PA on as well. Let's see. What else do we need? PA is on. Cabin on. Interphone is on. Right, here it is following green dot. You can actually see our profile here. We're just below the profile, which is okay. Want to at least hit 8,000 feet at 220 knots. So the aircraft is going to prioritize its speed restriction over its altitude restriction. Again, when we left in Doha this last night, it was evening for me. When we left, we were pretty heavy, so we left almost full weight. And we are carrying some Samsung devices. All right, there it goes, and we should be hitting that 8,000 feet. Air temperature is minus 13. We're going to engage our engine anti-ice, as seen here on our display. Not use wing anti-ice unless there is severe icing detected, which will show up down here. We will be using only our engine anti-ice to ensure that we don't get any ice buildup that is going to fall into our engine, causing any damage to our engines today. And again, we do have the cabin ready notification right there. Everything else is pretty much prepared for our approach. And we do see our deceleration point right here. We're supposed to be at 3,000. There's flaps 1, flaps 2. And then we are all set inbound for our arrival. We'll be using the ILS to get us down just below minimum, almost to minimum. So at 1,000 feet, we'll be disengaging our autopilot and we'll be flying the aircraft manually all the way down. This is something that we always do for our approaches or our landings. We don't use auto land unless it's zero visibility. Right, so we're going to call for our basically our approach briefing again, so that we are again aware of what we're planning to do. Our approach is the ILS runway 23. Final approach course is about 228 degrees. It is tuned on both sides. Auto land is available. Glide path is standard 3-degree glide slope or glide path. We'll intercept the localizer VR transition here. Then capture the glide slope from below. Our final approach altitude is expected to be 3,000 feet. Our decision altitude is set via the chart minimums, which is 808 feet. If visual reference is not established by decision altitude, we will execute published missed approach. Now again, our visibility is good, so we should not expect, we should be able to see the runway from a pretty far distance out. Our missed approach today, in the event of a go around, we will add thrust, pitch, and positive climb gear up, and we'll follow the flight director. So we'll add toga, pitch for 10 degrees nose up, and then we'll increase to 12 degrees as we climb out. Once we get positive climb, gear will be going up. We'll follow the flight director for the missed approach, and we'll fly the published missed approach procedure. Our initial climb will be expected to be 3,000 feet unless otherwise cleared. And that is pretty much our missed approach briefing and our approach briefing for today. All right, so now that we are here, we're going to go ahead and engage our approach mode. And let's go ahead and select ILS runway 23. I'm going to go ahead 10 nautical miles of zoom. And we can see a little bit better as we head in here. Glide slope is coming down, localizer is captured. And we'll wait for us to start for flaps 1. So we should intercept our glide slope just before Calvi at about 3,000 feet. We are able to see the runway just out there. And as we approach, check. Approach beautiful Toronto here today. All right, so altimeter is set 1012. As the visual vector, so we are able to see the bird. So our aircraft is flying this way, and the runway is, well, we're actually headed this way. I should say not vertical, it's visual vector. All right, so we're at decel, waiting for flaps 1. All right, we're going to go ahead and call. Toronto traffic, QTR767 heavy. We are about 8 miles from the arrival, runway 23. Established on the localizer, descending 3,000. We'll be sliding the glide slope in about 2 miles. All right. You guys are wondering, yes, it's a little bit difficult to see, but the runway is coming up right here. All right, flaps 1. We just went beyond it. Waiting for flaps 2. Glide slope captured. All right, all set.
Too fast.
Check. Flaps 2. All right, so we're seeing a little bit better of the runway, a little bit better right there. Getting a little bit of turbulence. And going gear down. Let's go ahead and lights, spoilers arm. Waiting for flaps full. Flaps full. You can see the aircraft bumping a little bit there. We are getting some, oh, well, I wouldn't even say that's a light, but we are getting some turbulence here today. Zoom out a little bit, and there we go. Pitch the airport view. And we're going to zoom in.
1,000.
1,000 feet. APU off. MEAPU autopilot off. Sorry. Here we go. Try to keep it. Try not to increase our descent rate below or above 1,000 feet, below 1,000 feet AGL. Pitch. Pitch. I'm just calling different things for myself. If you guys are wondering why I'm calling pitch.
400.
100 above.
300.
Minimum.
Continue.
200.
And there we go. We're unstable. Go around. Auto traffic. QTR767 heavy going around. Alright. Autopilot is on. Alright, so we're going around and trying again. Going flaps 1. Flaps up. Gonna plan for the approach again. Alright, let's go ahead flight plan again. And then once we head to IGDOT, we're gonna go ahead and perform our approach again. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and switch off our anti-ice. Yeah, we did perform a go-around due to the fact that we were unstable right before touchdown. We were still a little bit right of left of center line. It says the icing not detected, and all of a sudden icing is detected. Wow. All right, so there we are. We just performed a quick go-around, and then we're gonna go in again. Let's go ahead and our discontinuity is right here, so we should get ready for us to get out of here. Let's remove that, insert that, and then we'll go wing anti-ice, set that to on. Nope, there it is, sorry. It says ice not detected, but then it says ice detected. Right, so we're gonna vector ourselves to get back over for arrival.
Too fast. Too fast.
Yep, 2000. Go back to the amoeba arrival. All right, let's go up to 4,000. We'll go open climb. Thrust climb, open climb. I want to start practicing going around, especially if we are, just pretty much short. I don't want the aircraft to be within in a state where it's unsafe for the approach or for the landing. All right, let's go direct to. There we go. Insert. All right, speed alt nav check. All right, let's go ahead and reselect our brake to vacate exit. Zoom that in. Yeah, we're Hotel 4. Setting the brake to vacate exit. Compact snow set. Auto brake is selected. Brake to vacate contaminated. 20-mile range. We'll vector ourselves in. Toronto traffic. QTR767 heavy. We are reinitiating the approach for runway 23. We're directed new deck and vectored in for runway 23. Let's see if we can set our head-in bug here to 070 degrees. That way we don't have to do that full turn right there. We're going to head-in mode. And then we're going to vector ourselves in for that arrival. Go-arounds are always boring. Not much to do, just go back through the same procedure again. Still got at least 6 tons of fuel when we land in Toronto. However, from what I've seen, making the adjustments to my system did increase the performance, because by now I would at least have some. I was not seeing this, so my GPU is now pushing out some serious data here. Right, so we want to be parallel, almost parallel to it. So we're just going to slide a little bit 6.5 here. That way, when we turn, it'll have enough time to turn right around. Follow the deceleration, and then we can go ahead and start initiating our approach again. All right, we're going to activate our approach mode. We are in approach. We're activating nav as we make that turn. All right, we're going to go into our performance right here, and then activate approach. Confirm. Approach activated. All right, here comes our speed. Our speed is bleeding off. We're coming a little bit too fast here, so we are going to overshoot just a little bit. But the aircraft has enough energy to make that turn. And again, that's why we select the higher number to be our nav engaged. And it did not capture the localizer. All right, there we go again. Going to be a pretty tight turn coming in. Engine anti-ice, wing anti-ice is on. Spoilers are still armed. And here we go, making that hard turn. All right, let's see what we got here today heading into Toronto. So again, we are experiencing some ice, well, icing for the arrival. And also it's pretty windy. That's why I selected 2.4 knots for the arrival instead of putting the 1.4, because it is showing up as 1.4 knots, but it's gusting to 2.4. So we have to select 2.4 as our gusts today. All right, glide slope and localizer star. Flaps 1 selection. Is that flaps 1? That's way too far out. I'm sorry. Right, we're at 4,000, so it is going to descend. We're supposed to be at 3,000 feet around here, but we had to go up to 4,000 because where we made our go around, we were flying over lower terrain. We had to climb up to 3,000 AGL. Flaps 1. And Toronto traffic carries 767 heavy. We are established on the ILS runway 23. Right, so we have no other traffic on arrival or on the runway or nowhere near runway 23 today. Count flaps 2. All right. Pitch is increasing.
Too fast.
Check. Gear going down. Taxi and takeoff lights are on. Hold up, I can't see our checklist menu there. We're gonna have to go here. Approach. Minimum runway condition and auto brake is set. Flaps full. Alright, landing checklist. Flaps going down to land. Flaps in transit. Flaps landed. Checklist complete. Alright, so here we go again. Second try. Get a little bump there.
One thousand.
1,000 feet. APU off. APU again. Autopilot off. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Need to capture, put our nose into the wind here. Get our nose a little bit into the wind, so we're using our rudder here. Check. Get a little bit more rudder in.
100 above.
300.
Minimum.
Continue.
200. 100. 60. 50. 40. 30. 20. 5.
And max reverse. Auto brake off. Rightio guys, welcome to Toronto today. Pretty interesting landing. And here we go into Hotel 4. Does not look like the sim what's in compact snow and so on. So we did get off a lot earlier. We could have turned off a lot earlier than we saw there. Let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and turn off our strobe lights. And flaps going up. very smooth with that landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our destination. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign has been turned off. We remind you to check around your seat for any personal belongings before you leave the aircraft. On behalf of the crew, thank you for flying with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, so we're taxiing down hotel. We're crossing runway 15 right, 15 left, and then we're heading to Terminal 3. Got to keep an eye on our taxi speed there. We don't want to be too fast taxiing out on in the airfield. All right, let's go ahead and turn off our anti-ice. APU bleed is coming on right now. APU is available. And we are all set. Move our landing system and our vertical vector. Move that on the FO side as well. We are still on hotel. No, it was not very easy. It was very, very difficult. So Formula Ford, while I was upon almost touching down, I had to make some input adjustment because right over those buildings, I had a little bit of turbulence right before touchdown. So was not the best of conditions, was not the easiest of conditions. My first approach made me, be a little bit aware as to exactly what was going on and how the aircraft would have felt, especially almost before touchdown. But we were able to get in pretty smooth today. And if you looked at our vertical speed there, it arrested so quickly. We're approaching runway 15 left now. Try to keep moving slow. We don't want to try to use up our brakes here. This is carbon brakes, so once you keep pressing on the brakes, they will finish a lot quicker. So we gotta be mindful of that, especially for our taxi speed. So we want to slow down during our turns, 15 knots. 10 to 15 knots for our turns. All right, so pretty slow around the corner here. Since our wingspan is a little bit large, we're going to take this turn here. Because we don't want to be clipping anything as we go in. This is an approved taxiway for the 359 1000s, the 747s, the 777, and also the A380s. All right, so our temperature today is -5 degrees, so it's pretty cold. So guys, once you hop off the aircraft, just know that you are going to be experiencing some pretty cold weather heading into the terminal area. All right, let's go ahead airport. And we're looking for Terminal 3. "25 knots on the ground speed." We're going to try to slow that down a little bit. But I love that landing. It was pretty interesting, if I say so myself. You guys, like, you could also do this flight. It's a pretty long flight, but It's very awesome. All right, let's go Alpha Tango here. No, we're going to go a little bit further down, and then we'll take that next taxiway down here. Doesn't look like we have anything that can accommodate our aircraft at that terminal right now. So we'll take Alpha 3. Yeah, Alpha 3. We'll take Alpha to Alpha 3. All right, 22 knots, slow down. And we literally came to a full stop. Wow. That shows you the amount of dust that is being lifted up by these engines here. All right, as we pull into Terminal 3 here. Try to slow down. And there's our gate. Our gate is to the right of that. Is that an Air Transat? Not sure. Try to slow down here as we get into that terminal. Yep, it's an Air Transat. All right, here we go, Charlie 31. Slowly go in, try to get on our brakes here and turn off our taxi lights. Slide it in nicely and stop. There we go. All right, brakes are set and we brought in a lot of dust here, or a lot of snow. All right, so we are here in Terminal 3, Charlie 31. We're gonna go ahead and cut our engines. Let's go ahead to ground. To Swissport International for our handling today. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Beacon lights are off. Seatbelt signs are off. And no mobile. We have ground power available. So we're gonna go ahead and turn that on right now. APU bleed off. And APU master switch to off. Checklist menu. Parking checklist. Parking brakes and chocks are set. Wing lights are off. And we're gonna go ahead and get our fuel pumps to off right now. Main standby. Left, right, main standby. Rightio, there we go. Checklist is complete and our parking checklist is complete. All right, let's go ahead and get our deboarding.
The boarding requested.
Enable our air conditioning unit. And wow, we still got a lot of snow being built up here. And again, it is pretty cold, so
Passengers deboarding started.
passenger deboarding started. And yeah, so guys, we have arrived again. It is very cold out here, so be very careful as you step out of the aircraft. Thank you so much for joining me on this stream. It was a pretty interesting one, if I do say so myself. Pretty smooth for the landing. Let's see what our landing rate looked like. Minus 149, which is perfect. It was pretty good. So that's minus 149 feet per minute. Duration of flight 14 hours, 18 minutes. We're at stand Charlie 31 Alpha. Gonna complete the flight right now with Pegasus and our virtual airlines here. Gonna submit that. Let's take it outside look. And yeah, pretty much what we're expected. Did he stop okay? I think we stopped at a pretty good area. Beautiful aircraft, beautiful arrival. Pretty smooth on the touchdown, tires look good. You don't see no leaks. See our brake wear indicators, it looks good. We're all good here. Tires on our right side look pretty beautiful. And that amazing Qatari livery as well. This Qatari livery was done by the Hughes team. Shout out to them. They did an amazing and a fantastic job with it. But we look great. Oh, don't hit me, please. Beautiful aircraft. Rightio guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off right now. Okay. I'm gonna hop off right now because I do have to get ready for work. I should be leaving at around 12:30. It's 11:43 a.m. here. Gotta bathe, get dressed, hop off to head over to work. So guys, thank you so much for joining me along this flight. Well, mainly for the approach and landing, and it was an amazing one at that. Thank you so much for joining. We should be streaming tomorrow. We should be doing some live streams tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are with me for that. Thank you so much for joining again, and you guys have a great day.